There you
All
go.
right. So,
Oh yeah, I heard it.
okay, you're all okay with that? We
Hmm.
won't
Yeah, if
send
I
it.
recorded my sessions, I would probably get fired. So yeah, don't do
Oh,
that.
okay. All right. So here we are, and no Felicia, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a new world for her. I took her to her CE5 event last summer with the Charlotte group, and she's still kind of discovering and living out here on this property. You see a lot of strange stuff without CE5. So
Yeah, I
she,
see that with your Sasquatch stuff. Yeah, that's
yeah,
Yes,
thing.
that was so interesting, Holly. Wow.
Yeah,
Holy cow. I want to come out to your place.
well, I
yeah.
hope that summer we're trying to get things and updated, and in the middle of several house projects and plumbing crews coming in to redo all the plumbing this the rest of this week. So
Mm,
and flooring. So hopefully in the next couple months. Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking that we could just kind of go through this whole account of what happened with you with the video too and the plane thing and just kind of tell the story. Maybe we can ask you questions or something too. I
Sure.
don't know. 'Cause it just seems to me like it's kind of a big deal because I don't know, and not just a big deal because it's a jet plane come by, but but also because this disclosure stuff is really happening big time right now.
Ramping up. Hmm.
Yeah, and a lot going on there.
I love it.
And I just there's a possibility that this just putting this into a recording might be something that could help people to just kind of wake up a little bit more. Um, Not that we are promoting or thinking other people are going to see this. I think it's a very rare thing what you saw, but
Mm.
really, we're not looking for that. But
Yeah.
something
It was a
happened.
first
Say again.
it was a first for me to be visited with the jet, just gosh, right at my treetops. And I have a really large tulip poplar tree, and it was right on top of it. It really, really rattled me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Mm.
um, can you just? I'm curious the video, the timing. So Felicia made that video. Was that when did you find out about that video later, or
So,
did she tell you right before this happened or after it happened? What's the timing of the whole thing?
okay. So the video clip was recorded April 27th, which was a Saturday night. And Saturday night, about dusk, I did play some crop circle tones, and I did some of the basic meditations, like guided meditations. But after that, I just kind of zoned out in my chair, had a little backyard fire going, and I was just relaxing. I had just gone in more into just meditation, and not guided meditation for quite a while. And then I, was listening to some of the um, light code activations, which I'm just learning about. So I was listening to
That
some of, and
Light code activations. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. That's all right.
okay, I'll share with you some of the ones I was listening to that night if you want. Um, and so my eyes were closed. I was completely gone. I mean, when I get into a flow state, I just slip away. And she, I think, had gotten off of work and probably home, I don't know, 9ish or so. And she reaches out to me about a little after 10. And she basically just asked if I had bought spotlights and if I was playing around with them. And I said, well, no, I haven't bought any spotlights. I'm just actually in meditation out here, not really doing anything. And she's like, are you not seeing all this activity over your house? And I'm like, well, no, my eyes have been closed. So at that point, I, it had ceased, and I wasn't, I didn't see anything that night. But she had, y'all seen those recordings with the, gosh, we have like a little golden looking orb that I call Zippy. I used to see something similar to that a lot here last summer, just zooming around, and tree level sometimes way up in the sky, usually coming out of the Butez constellation area, in and out of that area, popping in and out.
And maybe I'll play that little video on this Zoom thing so it can be in here.
Yeah,
not too long. All right.
And then behind the clouds, was really what caught my attention too, was just, you had 2 lights, sometimes 3 lights or so, kind of coordinating with each other and either crossing or kind of paralleling. I haven't seen that type of here or any of my CE5 events, like that. And so I was just kind of just watch the video. I was like, wow. And that was pretty much it for Saturday night. Now, Wednesday night, May 1st, is, I kind of set the intention. I started Crop Circle Tones broadcasting right at dusk, and just let those play for probably solid 30 minutes. And I did do maybe one of the pujas, went into a guided meditation. And right around 9 o'clock, I was in the chair, and I just opened my eyes and I looked back and I saw 2 golden orbs. I'm facing west. They were just overhead, but just a little bit east. And it's literally within seconds, I was looking at those orbs, and I just hear this loud, I couldn't even tell you what it was. It was just so loud, rumbling coming in, and all I saw was metal overhead. And I couldn't even make out what I was seeing until this jet passed, and it was so low. I thought, oh gosh, it's crashing, and it's literally heading toward the direction where Felicia lives and my brother lives, and that part of the property. So, I was completely panicked. Now, gosh, I wish I had my psionics just up and recording, and I had it right beside me. I did not think it ought to pick it up. And then I noticed this jet kind of do a C-turn, come back toward my property, but it went across the street, it dropped even lower across the field. It's like a hayfield across the street. And it really went low. It kind of rocked a little bit back and forth like this. It didn't land. And then, I felt a little bit of the orange afterglow, which John told me was afterburners, and then took off east from what I could see. As soon as the jet was out of sight, I was still looking east with my jaw basically on the ground, and 2 golden orbs popped back into view, just over the hayfield, and they're lower than the typical commercial flight path, and they were probably in view for about 10 seconds, and they slowly faded out. And I see the type of orb activity.
The orbs were not in flight path, you say? Of course. Well, they're orbs, they can be anywhere, right?
Right, right.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And so, and of course, I was super just startled, rattled, excited. And I was calling Felicia. I was like, and are you outside? Are you outside? Did y'all hear that? And she's like, I don't know what she was doing. She didn't hear it, but my brother's in the background. He's like, yeah, did you hear a military jet or fighter jet fly over? I said, I didn't just hear it. I literally watched it, and it was so close. I couldn't even make out what it was until it was passed overhead, because it was that close. I couldn't get the outline of a jet or a plane. And, and then they had heard it. And then, I called Ren from the CE5 Charlotte group, because I know he's up kind of late at night. So I called him, and we kind of talked a little bit about it. And then the following days, when I reached out to you, Mark, and John, because, I know John some background on what in the world type of aircraft that was. For what I could tell, I think he felt like it was, what was it, F-16?
Likely an F-16, yeah.
Yeah. And so that were questions for me, is like, well, how do they pinpoint and be out here so quickly? But John gave me the history behind that too, which is all new information for me. I've only doing, CE5, like this initiation, for about a year and a half now, and had some pretty profound experiences. Yeah. But this was just off the charts. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I want to hear what you have to say, just your thoughts, John, with your background stuff. And
Oh, sure. It's likely, like 99.9% sure that those F-16s, one, or I think you said there were two of them, because they usually do just one. So
Mhm.
one, it was down low, and one was likely higher, keeping eyes on everything, just loitering. And the base where you, the base closest to you that has F-16s is my old base, Shaw Air Force Base, down outside of Sumter, South Carolina. And, they can be from, just for geography purposes, they can be from the Shaw there at Sumter to Myrtle Beach in like 8 minutes. That's fast. And for them to come to you is just a hop, skip, and a jump. So,
An hour north of Charlotte, right up 77. Yeah.
yeah. So
so,
those jets are what we call the multi-role joint force fighter, because they are so highly maneuverable. They're if you can imagine, when you said one turned like a C formation, um that's, we'll call it half a circle. When an F-16 banks and turns on those afterburners, that half a C formation is 800 yards. That's fast. That's fast, and a lot of torque. And so they can stay close, eyes on the scene. Full circle would be 1,600 feet, not yards. I apologize. So 16 football fields.
yeah.
um, so um, they keep a readiness. Um, there's a group there that is always on, and they take turns and rotate those pilots out just for stuff that crops up that they want to get eyes on very quickly. And who knows what else that they do, but more than likely, I believe you had F-16s there, and they are extremely noisy when they turn those afterburners on. And of course, they are equipped with the latest of electronics to record and see what's going on. Um,
So I got some questions for you.
sure.
Um,
Hopefully, I have answers.
well, I guess maybe it's just more like comments to add to this. But it could be a good question. So,
Okay.
I mean, if they came out, well, from what I know, through my learning through Dr. Greer and stuff, is that they definitely, like when we were on 6-day thing with Dr. Greer, there
Mhm.
were military planes there every night flying,
Yeah.
and the idea was just to suppress the
Mhm.
activity.
Mhm.
Now, we could talk about one instance where they actually had a huge, big aircraft that they thought looked like an unmarked 747 and tried to shoot down what was going on there. That was a
Wow.
one-time thing, as far as I know. And I don't,
Mm.
I mean, I would be surprised if they were thinking of doing that in this situation, but definitely sounds like in the category of checking things out and trying to suppress. But it's not like, I mean, they either have to be read into, that term, uh,
Mhm.
ET craft stuff, checking it out, or they were just told to go see what's going on there. I mean, that's all I can think of.
Yeah.
Do you think
Um,
those guys, you think maybe there's pilots that do F-16s and other things that are read into that and all part of that? And then others that don't know anything about that, as is often reported, you know, because of Tic Tac, they didn't know what it was or anything.
Yeah. There are specific units there that do um very specific jobs. So trying to choose my words carefully here.
Don't want to tell any national secrets, right?
Yeah, nothing is extravagant. But each of those squadrons, we all had our own skiff, we all had our own SOC we could get into, because there are different areas of responsibility, we call them AORs, that they are responsible for. And so I believe that often when you see military aircraft in a location where, something's going on, I think it's just to be a presence and to be a deterrence, just to be eyes on and it be known that you're there. Because, Mark, as well as many others do, that when things come into our atmosphere or they materialize in our atmosphere, they leave neutrino crumbs. And there are satellite arrays all over the planet that are for detecting those and tracking those. So that information is often fed to, I believe, the closest base that has a readiness team that's their role, that's that job until they rotate out. That it's almost like keep the engines warm because we'll need them at a moment's notice. So I really do believe that when it's like an 18-wheeler going down the road as compared to a motorcycle, when it's been drizzling and raining, they leave a bigger debris trail behind them. So I think that as things come in and out of to visit us, that they leave different kinds of markers, different kinds of trails. And maybe it's that type of trail that's left as to whether or not fighters get scrambled to go check it out or not.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of them reporting back to the commander of the base what's been seen. It is sent instantly through satellite link up. Everything that the pilot sees has also been seen back in headquarters. It's pretty instant. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
So what about flying that low? Isn't that like illegal to fly over treetops?
Yeah, well,
Somebody's yard or what? Illegal?
yeah, you'll hear military folks always, first things they say are, public safety, public safety, public safety. However, those who make the rules often bend the rules. And if it's within the scope of national security, well, we'll just drop down low fast and see what's going on. But I don't know that it's proximity so much that's noticed, because if we can see them, many, many, many miles out, they can see us many more miles out. So I don't know that I think it's just what we call see and be seen. Let it be known we're in the area. And if that's not enough of a deterrence, then we'll loiter, we'll hang out for a while and try to help, move them along. That's kind of my neophyte take on it.
Okay. So I was thinking that maybe part of the thing is that where you live, Holly, is out in the pretty remote area, you say, yes. So like if they came over one of our CE5 events here and in Asheville, flying the jet and flying around in circles at the top of the trees, I think that would not go over so well with a lot of people. Make a lot of hubbub.
I agree too. Yeah. And Ben,
I don't think they would do it probably, but
you would think not, but if you think, well, that's not far from the Charlotte Douglas Airport, which is a very busy traffic pattern area. But when something like this is happening and jets get scrambled, we used to call them NOTAMs, notice to airmen, immediately go out. And it is to, divert, go around, wide berth. We got military operations in this area, so don't go within X amount of miles of this area, or divert and go back into a pattern, get into pattern again, just to keep that area clear.
All right. So I was thinking, why did they do this, I mean, why did they pick on Holly's orbs? I mean,
I
they didn't come out
Holly's
here for
got,
no reason, right?
Holly's got something going on over there that's kind of a rather warm spot, wouldn't you say, Holly?
I would say so. I had, had our first experience when I was 11 years old at this property, then again at 17. Um, and then the orb activity just since, gosh, 2020, I think February 2021 or 2022 is when I started seeing orbs, you know.
Mm.
And I had to get the night vision camera to prove to my family I wasn't, whatever.
So there seem to be places that are like that. I mean, Dr. Greer, they used to sometimes go to, especially in the 90s, to places around the world where that was reported there was a lot going on. I don't think he operates that way right now. I didn't really have time to do that
Yeah.
chasing around, but I was thinking, and this is just me thinking, but the video, that's quite a, I thought I'd just play it here so it could be recorded into this. It's pretty
Sure.
short. If technically it'll work, I think it will. But I mean, that flitting around, that was a lot.
Mm.
I mean, it was two of them, and it was coming out of the clouds and into the clouds and inside the clouds and doing all this stuff. And that's kind of attention getting, I mean, seems to me.
Right. There was nothing subtle about that. Usually when I see orb, for, anywhere from 3 to about 30 seconds, and they kind of come in, they flare and gently go out, but this was completely different. Yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking. It's almost like they were trying to get somebody's attention,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I know this for sure. I'm just saying it kind of looks awfully, hey, look at this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we're going to go in and out of the clouds, and you're going to see us inside the clouds and outside the clouds. And, maybe it'll attract somebody and seem like they knew what they were doing. And might get some, I do know this sounds like I'm tooting my own horn here as far as, but the ETs do stuff sometimes for me because they know I will check it out and tell other people about it.
Mm.
And because some things that they show me, they wouldn't do these things unless I was going to do something about it. Because why do it? A lot of it, and I
Yeah,
might not
Mark,
pick up
it,
on it right away, but later on, sometimes I figure out what's going on, then I report it.
it crosses my mind that maybe, this is me prescribing, human character, been anthropomorphic, which might not be accurate, but I'll try. I just wonder if they do things like what Holly experienced in an effort to draw attention to this area in order to distract you from something that's going on in another area that's more important. So it's kind of like, watch what the left hand's doing, never mind the right hand. Um, so I wonder if it was like a bait and switch kind of thing, got your attention here, but we don't want you looking behind the curtain over here.
Well,
But that's me being anthropomorphic. So
yeah, but who doing that? The military or the ETs?
other ETs, yeah. Knowing that, those
Yeah,
Neanderthal humans, they'll fall for this. They do it every time. And sure enough, we fell for it.
yeah. I'm not sure how that would work out, but it's interesting.
Mhm.
I've had a interesting thing. I don't know if you guys read my reports today.
Yeah.
Um,
I
the last,
haven't read the last two. Um, I'm
so the last
behind.
one I put out was about where I talked about how I have this recording. Oh wait, I didn't even get to that, did I? I'm sorry, maybe it's too much to bring up on here. Um, but they added a recording to I record the event, and then I was talking in the thing when it was being recorded about um radar detectors and stuff like that, and saying they'll do this or that, and they could do other things too. And then at that time, um, audio was added to my recording. We determined by the ETs with the sound of radar into my recording. Anyway, it's a whole well, it's too much to get into here.
Interesting.
Anyway, it turns out somebody else that is very important what he's doing, Matthew Klee, PhD, doctor, so who's head of our ZPE project to try and make devices. He's been having the same thing going on except through his telephone for the last year or so. And he didn't know what to think of it until he heard me talk about this. Um, anyway,
Hmm. That's
he
interesting.
didn't learn about it until he heard it from somebody else. So to get
Hmm.
this info out, a lot of times we think it's just something that happened to us. Holly thinks it's something that just happened to her, but
Hmm.
maybe to get it out there, it's gonna alert somebody else and wake somebody else up, and it's gonna be very meaningful to them. See what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
You know, Maybe we need our own rapid response team. So when these things happen, we can send somebody out right away, you know?
Oh, Dr. Greer's his CSETI group, that's what they were a long time ago. They used to
Mhm.
go around to things like that. Anyway, you have any other things you wanted to share, Holly? I I could play this video. Then you might have a comment. Nothing?
Oh yeah, nothing regarding this incident.
Okay. So let me see if I can pull this up. I barely know how to do this. Share screen. Can do that. And then I want to share this. Hold and shift to select. No. Share. Okay, let me see if this works. All right.
Oh, something's happening.
Yep,
Yeah.
You got something there?
and we can
Yes.
see it.
You can see it. So I'm going to press play and
Oh,
see if it plays, and then if you can hear it and everything too. I think we can also talk over it. I think we'll see what happens. So I have, before I play it, Holly, didn't you say, or you weren't sure, besides the actual thing going on, um, there's these things up close that look like just garbage in the air that they look like orbs too, but what is that? Is that
I'm thinking that may be pollen coming through and reflecting off the light, but I really don't know. That's just because there's so much and it seems to be flowing in the same direction.
yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, so you need to know that at first it looks like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and we are surmising that the stuff that's way up front and kind of floating by is pollen or something. I mean, if that's if that's ET too, my gosh, I don't know, is it? That'd be
mm,
a lot of things floating around. But we're
me too.
supposing that the things in the background that is a more of a brighter orb And the inside the cloud is what we're really trying to see here, right?
Yeah.
Y'all agree?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna press play here and see what we get. See the stuff up front right at the beginning.
Mhm.
We think that's pollen or something. I don't know. It's all going the same direction, so it makes sense.
It might be what we call no-see-ums because I attract them by the millions with my security cameras. They just swarm.
Yeah, okay. All right, so now there's the
Here.
thing which you're gonna see in the clouds. That might be one in the clouds already. If it's not obvious yet, it will be really soon. See something in the cloud right there? It's like a light
Mhm.
kind of, oh, and it just popped out. Did you see that? It popped out.
Mhm.
I should play that again. Now inside the cloud, couple things. It's a lot of jumping around.
And kudos to you, Holly, for having your camera on a stable platform.
Well, this is Felicia recording.
Okay.
I'm in my G recording that's over my house, and I'm in right here. I'm oblivious to what's going on around me.
You
Okay.
probably had your eyes shut or meditating or something,
Yeah.
or just weren't looking in the right direction. That could be too.
Yeah. My eyes were closed. I mean, I was in a whole, like in the flow zone.
Mm.
She's turning the camera some.
Yeah, she must be on a tripod. That's nice and steady or stable.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
Mhm.
in the clouds.
It's pretty attention getting when you see, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we are.
And that's fast too.
Look at this.
Mm-hmm. So you can rule out it is not a drone because as it comes out of the clouds, you would see the red and green markers
Right.
that drones have to have at night or even during the day. These don't have that.
That's the end of that. I'm gonna go back. There's one spot if I can find it where it looks like it pops out.
Yeah, it looks like it's traveling down and then kind of just pops through
Try to
the.
find that. And so I'm almost at the beginning now, but you see it, and I'm gonna stop it and go back. All right. Right. Let's see.
There.
The clouds, in the clouds, in the clouds. Yeah. Yeah. Right. There.
Mm.
That's where I was thinking.
I hadn't noticed that before. Yeah.
Let me go back just a hair. Watch this again. There, in. And then did I go back in? It's hard to. Oh, maybe I didn't go back far enough for that. I go up. I just went back somewhere. Can you see? You can see everything, right? You can see my mouse
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
So just right.
Yeah.
Try it once more. Yeah. There.
Yeah. Look at that. I think, Mark, you can put your cursor down on the taskbar where it shows you the time lapsing, and you can
Yeah.
drag it to whatever point you want. You could, there's no pausing and
Right.
play it. Drag it to where you want it.
Oh, right. Just drag it.
Yeah,
Do that with here.
there you go.
Of course, the bar is kind of in the way. It's almost about where it's
Yeah.
happening. So that's kind of a problem. There. Actually, you know what? I forgot, but I don't know if it'll work here. Oh yeah, I can actually go frame by frame with quick. There,
Mhm.
there. I think go back. Go back. I'm going frame by frame now.
Okay.
Well, just seems like right there, like it pops out or something.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's enough messing around with that. I just, it's pretty interesting video. I mean, when you see stuff, you don't usually see a couple things flying
Mhm.
all around like, hey, and they'll still do some do-si-dos. There's even some do-si-dos in there. Did you see them?
Yeah, where they come together and then, yeah.
Yeah. I swear they like to entertain sometimes. I mean, we say don't expect them to be like a dolphin show or something, but
Mhm.
occasionally they get like they kind of have a little fun or something.
I just wonder that I think for those of us who are more open-minded and susceptible to considering other, alternative here, that maybe this kind of display is there's a reason for it. We just don't know what it is. But maybe it's to get our attention so that we will spread it and, you know, quote unquote, make it go viral.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying just a little while ago.
Yeah.
Similar. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, any more you want to talk about this? Are we good?
Uh, I like hypothesizing, you know, intent. Could it be this? Could it be that? Um, and luckily, because we have three heads here, you don't get just 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. It can be more than three. So
Yeah.
that's the thing about brainstorming.
Yeah. Well, I've also found that a lot of times over time, even though I don't understand what's going on over time, it becomes a lot of times apparent.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of examples I could give, but I've had this thing with my event recordings that I've been doing. I always listen to them just because there's always things in there I didn't quite catch on to, while the event was going on, till I examine it later on. But
Yeah.
for the last year or two, I've been listening to my recordings, and there's been occasionally this static sound injected into the recording. And I've always
Hmm.
thought, why is static? Why would there be static sound on my recording? There's nothing to really cause that. And I did
Hmm.
it the very first time. I thought, could that be the ETs doing something? But I just said, nah, it's like a static. And so I let it alone. But this last time I was listening to the recording, and when the ETs injected the audio of the sound of the radar detector, it's in my last report, I think. Yeah. Is it in my last report? There's 2 months going on here, so Can't remember exactly if it's in that report or if it's coming up in my next report. But anyway, I finally figured out that when that sound was ejected into the recording, literally added to my recording,
Mhm.
it was during while that static was there. The static started, and then out of the static emerged the sound of the radar detector added into my recording. So it happened when that static was there. And
Mhm.
you could say, well, that's just coincidence, but it turns out there's another weird thing, and that is that a lot of times when you hear sounds and stuff from the ETs, it's limited to one ear or something like that, or one thing. Turns out the static is only on one track of the stereo track.
Oh,
Literally.
wow.
It's
That's interesting.
Yeah. And guess what? The sound of the radar detector is also on that same one track on a recorder that doesn't know how to record in mono. See that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the one I've seen you use before.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
stereo and it only knows how to record in stereo. It's not smart enough. But no,
Yeah.
the static and the sound of the radar detector was recorded only on one track. So we have video and I can show it to you and prove it to you and show it, listen
Mm.
to it and everything. Um, but I had other things too with that where it turned out I listened to it and something told me that it was the same pitch even as my
Mhm.
radar detector. And it turns out it's exactly the same pitch
Wow.
as my actual radar detector. Um, and then this last month, the radar detector went all evening long. And then I started to talk with Matthew Klee. I shared the report with him.
Mhm.
He's the guy that's the CEO of our ZPE project group. He's a chemist and stuff. And I played it for him to see. I played it for the ZPE group, and he noticed right away, oh my gosh, a few months ago, when I was getting this started, I used to get these random phone calls from random numbers, and I would listen to them, and it would be this sound in the background, and he didn't know what it was, and it would be over the top of static and stuff. And then he actually played a recording of it in the what's so weird. I got it,
Mhm.
I think. Do I have it right here? I could show you.
You know, Mark, when you say radar detector, I forgot about this. What I heard was like, oh, like the radar detector in the car, that picks up, the
That kind, yeah.
automatic door openers, the police radar, it'll pick up everything like that.
Yeah.
But there have been times, yeah, I've got one that's like 15 years old. It's really old, but I like it. And I'll be out driving out in the middle of nowhere and it goes crazy. And I've always thought, well, with there, I'm not far from the base. There's probably some military avionics jamming operations going on here because of an exercise or maneuver.
Yeah.
And so that's why my radar detector is going crazy. But I never thought that it might be something else until I heard you say that.
Could be. But I hooked it up to my car too, so I could, and it does go off at some crazy times. But um,
Mhm.
anyway, so can you see the telegram? Did it come up? I'm sharing the screen. Did it show
I
that?
still see Hub's
You'll
video.
just Okay, let me I'll see if I can fix this. So zoom window. Oh, where's my gosh, now how do I Uh-oh, getting too weird technically here. We're new share. I want to get to not QuickTime, whiteboard via Brave.
Sounds like you're onto something.
Well, yeah, technical stuff. It can't do it now because it's not showing what I wanted to show you. Anyway, he plays the audio. Now I can't even get back to your thing. Maybe if I close that, it'll just go back to.
Oh, there you go. Now we're back to where we started.
We are?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can.
good. Because now I can show you this, I think. It's Telegram, yeah. Okay, here's Telegram. All right.
Oh.
I posted this report. I said, where is it? I posted this report, and it's got where we saw this shiny saucer, and it came in the picture. And anyway, it talks all about how the sound of the radar detector was added in there, and I played it for him and everything. It's on the report. Matthew Klee, that's him right here. He listens to it and he says, when I was in high gear organizing the group and setting up infrastructure, I was receiving phone calls from random numbers that I could ignore most of the time, letting me get a voicemail. My intuition was that this might be ET initiated, but I talked myself out of it. They did not seem to fit with other things. Anyway, he recorded it, he showed it here. It's right here to listen to, supposedly. Listen to this. See if you can hear it. It's the same sound as my.
What would you like me to know? Are you ready?
Here.
It's the same sound as, you might not be hearing it very well on there. It's through a lot of static. It turns out it's the exact same pitch as mine. And so it's almost like this whole thing was done for me so I could tell him that what he was hearing on his telephone was important. So that's why you never know sometimes what you're doing. It might be more important than you think it is.
Well, this is really interesting that you're sharing this, because I think it was 2020 to 2021 is when I, discovered Greer's work and, watched some of the documentaries. And then I decided probably by late 2021, 2022, early 2022, to do the app and just, try to follow the app. And I think within the first couple of weeks of just doing this solo, at this point, I didn't realize there are teams and local people who are involved in this. And I was at work, and I had to initiate a conference call with my supervisor and a colleague. And there was this kind of staticky, then this high pitched, it sounds like metallic screeching, and then tapping, like metallic tapping. And I had never had that experience before. So we disconnected the call. I tried it again. It happened again. I said, well, somebody else might have to initiate. And then it happened again. I think it was the following day. And then I started thinking, I wonder if this is related to that app. So I deleted the app. It kind of scared me because it was just so weird, I don't know, just kind of open thoughts. Yeah.
So it could be happening to you too. I mean, it's just there's a lot going on there. Don't underestimate our importance of what we're doing here. I mean, they're teaching us stuff. That's how I see. I have a lot to share about this stuff here that I dare not try and download the whole thing to you, dump the whole thing on you, but there's a lot going on here. And anyway, I can't get my screen to show up the way it's supposed to. You're all very tiny now.
Oh,
Screen sharing. Stop share. Oh, there we are. I'm back to normal now.
Bingo. There you are.
All right.
Quick question. Mark, you mentioned earlier that sometimes people hear like a pitch, like a tonal pitch in one ear.
Yeah.
So I'm not really familiar with that. So what what is the experience and kind of how is that interpreted? Because I have been having some seriously high pitched tones going on, usually about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually it's in the afternoon or evening, short duration.
Well, it could be a lot of different things. I just read something and I was going back through this book. If you haven't read this book, it's a great book for
That's Greer's book. Yeah.
that can happen if you haven't read it. I just saw it. He was talking about a high pitch, and it had something to do with something bumping up against 3D. Okay. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's definitely a thing. But the thing of hearing it in one ear is another thing. It's not like just hearing it like, oh, I think it's on this side and I hear it mostly in this ear. No, it's in the one ear. So just like my recordings there of the radar sound and it's on one channel on a machine that doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
that's fascinating.
Really.
Yeah. If you haven't read my report from last month, it's called The Shiny Saucer. Read that. It's fascinating because you have to read that one for the next one that's coming up, which has got all sorts of stuff happen the last sea event. Well, not all sorts of stuff. One big thing happened, which was our radar detector started working. I mean, I never used it before. The month before, it wasn't set up. All it was is I found the sound of it injected into my recording of the event. There was no radar detector set up, but I took it as a hint that we should set up the radar detector. So I set it up for this last one just a week or so ago. And it's said something at the very beginning, like hello kind of thing. It just went off right away. And then it did something again during the part at a very important spot. I can't even explain why or how it was important. I will get into another report. And then when the CE5 event started, initiated by the crop circle tones, at that same time, the radar detector started chirping, and it chirped the entire evening, nonstop until we left, doing all sorts of stuff.
Mark, I have a question. Your radar detector, when it chirps, is it always the same tone, same frequency, or does it deviate?
Well, the one that I have, it's in my car now because I wanted to see how it operates on the road, So that's why I put it in my car. I never actually used it before. But it has like 4 different bands or 3 different bands. It has a K band, the KA band, and an X band, and a couple other bands.
Yes. Why? Mine has the same one. It's old, but yeah.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I'm with you now.
Right. But it's sort of a go-to default band is the X band, which actually has a pitch, which is the same pitch as you just heard in Matthew Clee's recording. You'll hear it when you listen to my check out my report, The Shiny Saucer. But
does the pitch that you hear in your ear, and for you too, Holly, is it always the same kind of pitch, same frequency, same? Is it familiar as is because it repeats, or is it always different?
It can be a familiar tone that's like really high pitch. I wish I had more of a musical background. I could probably, pick out of a lineup of tones, but it's loud and it's
you'd have to check it with something. I don't have perfect pitch, but I use an app here that I can check stuff out. Come on.
And sometimes it's the other ear and it's a lower pitched tone or vice versa or something, but it's something I've noticed maybe in the last quarter. And of course I'll go check my blood sugar and it looks okay.
I can use this to check the pitch. When
Okay.
you look at my report, you'll go, oh my God. What happened is I just had this thought that the pitch in the recording that was added by the ETs is the exact same pitch as my actual detector. And I checked it
Yeah.
and it was. I mean,
So
that's just exactly
that's my
the same pitch.
I have it's a free app. I downloaded it somewhere. It's a frequency tone generator, and you can dial it in to whatever you want it to be. It could be negative megahertz or it can be positive. I mean, you can dial in whatever frequency. Like if you know you want a 532, the old A chord, or 540, the new A chord, you can dial that in and hear what that sounds like, you know.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the pitches that you're hearing, if you start to match it with the frequency tone generator so that you get and then they match, they're in sync, you know what pitch that is.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
might be a significant
You guys,
number.
your links to what your apps you're using. Yeah. You have to give it a whirl.
And when you read that report, you'll go, okay. So it's all, I had this thought and there's a whole nother thing about these doves that showed up at my house. And then I also got this message that the pitch that the dove is making is the exact same pitch also. I checked it out and it turns out it was.
Oh my gosh.
Craziness going on.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
there's more.
there is, the way we hear and respond to pitch, what it does to us is amazing. Here's proof. For 8 years, I was a beekeeper, and I always knew that when I had my head down in the hives, I would be working maintenance in them for like half a day. So for half a day, all I hear is the droning of millions of bees' wings. And then when you walk away, 6 hours later, you still hear it because the little cilia in your hair or in your ear is still playing it. So, I was amazed when I read that somebody did a study and they found out that the pitch of a honeybee's wing is in the key of C, C major, and that's a whole tone that's connected to healing. So, and then on some show I had watched talked about how beekeepers back in years and thousands of years ago, that they were highly coveted because of the healing properties that, pharaohs, kings, they that was something to, if you could afford to have that, you wanted beehives and you wanted to spend time around them so that that C major chord was getting into your ear. I know there's so much more to it than what I know. I'm not doing
Yeah.
it justice, but there's something to it.
That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could rabbit hole ourselves all through the evening here. I better get going because I got to get ready for tomorrow. But it's been interesting, and we'll just see where things go with this video. If I want to share it, maybe I'll just check with you guys, make sure you're cool with it or not.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation, Holly and Mark. Thanks for having me. This has been wonderful. I enjoy the meeting of the mind. I love it.
Yeah, cool.
That's nice.
See you later.
All right, y'all.
Find the
Guys,
end.
take
Evening.
see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.